Shit.
That is weird. You see that? There's a skunk in there.
Yo, whoa. I heard another voice.
It looks like some criminal is hiding there. I found him last time.
This one over here. Oh. Whoa.
The wilderness promises peace, but absolute isolation can turn terrifying in a heartbeat. From discovering bloody remains on a desolate trail to a hostile stranger attacking your truck in the dead of night. If you suddenly realized you weren't alone, would you stay or run for your life? Meet Mo Sargi, a well-known YouTuber who operates a self-named channel centered on exploring places ranging from abandoned cabins to isolated forests. On April 25th, 2025, he headed out on what he called a simple solo trip. The plan was to test his new e-bike, ride a few trails, and possibly camp overnight. It didn't take long for things to veer off track. The trails were rough and lined with puddles that looked shallow, but weren't. His feet were quickly soaked and numb from the cold, and he considered cutting the trip short. Even so, he kept searching for a campsite. Every spot he inspected was muddy, flooded, or unusable. After several failed attempts, he left and made his way to another area known as the Haunted Doll Forest. When he got there, almost nothing had changed since his last visit.
Yo. All right, we got some dolls here, all over the trees there. The creepy ones, they're still here after all these years. And the extra creepy ones are just back down this way. Whoa. Look at this. Back to the creepy dolls. If you've missed my doll forest series in the past, I've done a lot of videos out here. There's just so many freaking creepy dolls. Like, look at this and this. So many of them.
The dolls weren't limited to the trees. They showed up in other spots too.
It's always a creepy time when you're walking in the forest and you find legs of another doll. And more parts of a doll. Freaking creepy. Yeah. This one over here. Oh. Whoa. Holy.
Not long after, a strange sound echoed through the woods.
Right. What the f is that? Hello? Did that sound like a dog? Or was that a coyote? Hello? I hate this place. Like, I genuinely hate this place. Yeah, that just sounded like a dog or something.
It wasn't a howl, and it didn't sound like a normal scream. It was sharper and more sudden, like a distant bark. Uneasy, he returned to camp and started making dinner. That was when he felt it, the sense that something nearby was watching.
Yo guys, I think I'm being stalked by an animal. What is that? Oh, what is that? Oh, it's a porcupine. Yo, I've never seen one in real life. Yeah, I seen something like heading my way. I was kind of laying down, waiting for that fire to calm down. And I seen something heading my way. And at first I thought it was like a little black bear or something. But then I'm like, what the hell is that thing?
Later that night, after a porcupine moved through the area, Mo stepped out again to check his surroundings. The tension remained. Then he noticed something that made him freeze.
I don't see any logs. I just see a lot of like tiny what the fuck is that? Shh. What are you? Shh. Animal. There's something there. Thought I heard somebody. That's an animal. There's something there. It's not moving. What is that? Oh my God. What the fuck is that? Yeah, I just heard some coyotes. Something smells really bad over there. Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh my God. Oh my God, no way. That's a dog.
A body was lying on the ground, as if it had been placed there recently. When he leaned in to inspect it, blood smeared onto the stick he was holding.
Oh, you poor thing. Ew, it's missing its face. Oh, it's decapitated. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Fuck. Now it makes sense why we heard a dog screaming earlier. Holy shit. There's like dark blood on it, but then there's a head. That's disgusting. What the fuck, man? Why? Like, what would compel someone to do such a fucked up...
In that moment, he rethought the sound he had heard earlier. It probably wasn't a coyote. Whatever happened seemed recent, and whoever, or whatever, was responsible had left the remains out in the open. That was when he chose to leave.
I'm packing my shit up, man. I'm already tired as fuck. Like, all day I've been at this, biking, hiking, making a fort. I'm just exhausted, and now this just messed up my brain. I feel so bad. Like, guys, you guys know me. I don't have, like, a dog, but I love animals. You know, I used to have cats and shit. Dogs, they're like our friends. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. I can't continue this. I can't do this. Like, I don't have it in me to camp out here tonight knowing someone was here. And we caught the sound of it on camera when we were at the dolls earlier. That's just too much. That's where I draw the line. I'm gonna pack my shit up.
He packed up his gear, scanning the tree line as he walked back toward the parking lot. His decision was clear. It was time to go. Sometimes the forest feels empty, but small details can change that feeling fast. Maybe the sound and what he found were connected, or maybe it was just bad timing. If you were alone out there and saw something like that, would you stay and try to figure it out, or leave before something else appeared in the dark? This clip features Alex Nino, a trucking vlogger who documents the daily reality of long-haul work in the US. His content is typically light, straightforward, and a blend of food reviews, road frustrations, and the small wins that keep drivers moving. But on July 7th, 2023, a routine stop at a quiet truck lot became something much more serious after a long day of delays and loading.
Now let's try this spicy tri-tip deliciousness. Sick. Got barbecue sauce on my titties. Gosh. Oh my. That is the tastiest piece of meat I've ever put in my mouth. That was the juiciest piece of meat I've ever... That meat that I ate was so delicious. That meat was so thick.
Alex pulls into a corner spot to finally unwind and eat the meal he grabbed inside. For a brief moment, everything feels routine. Just a driver taking a short break before the next stretch of highway.
Don't want to get in this guy's way. I hope this guy doesn't get mad. That should be good, right? Right there. What is this guy doing? You good?
Yeah, what's your problem?
We're just gonna pull over to eat real quick, man. Oh, no. Oh, that cat almost got ran over, though. Alright, this guy, I think he thought I was gonna hit him or something, but I almost caught that cat right there get hit. My barbecue sauce. Dude, this guy's coming back. What?
Hey, motherfucker, move out of the way.
Then he notices a man nearby behaving oddly, walking around the parking area in a way that doesn't fit the usual truck stop atmosphere. At first, it appears harmless, maybe someone confused or simply lingering, but the tone shifts quickly.
Shit. Hey, what are you doing, dude? Hey, what the hell?
The man's actions grow more intense, and he begins moving closer to Alex's truck, circling it with restless, unpredictable energy that immediately feels off. What starts as simple confusion escalates into a tense confrontation. Moments later, the stranger comes back holding something and strikes the side of the truck. Alex doesn't hesitate. He puts the truck in gear and drives off immediately.
And swing that at me. I don't know what that guy's problem was, but I'm out. Look, he's coming back. He's coming back.
Hey, motherfucker, get the fuck out of here.
I'm just trying to eat, dude. I'm gonna leave. You're.
Hey, leave.
The man chases the vehicle briefly before dropping back once Alex clears the lot. He tells viewers he's fine, but the strain in his voice shows how rattled he was. Sometimes a place that feels ordinary can change in seconds. Maybe it was random, or maybe something else triggered it. If you were alone in that lot and someone started circling your truck, would you wait to see what happens or leave right away? On January 26, 2025, he traveled deep into the forest to camp and retell the legend of Lady Sybil, the witch believed to have made a pact with the devil. The woods were unnaturally quiet. No birds, no movement in the branches. A heavy mist lingered close to the ground, threading between the trunks and dulling the entire landscape.
I haven't been out for that long. Whew, and I can feel it. Ah, little pudding. We haven't got your briefcase thing, do we? Come here. Stop running about. Hello?
As darkness settled in, the calm shifted into tension. Then a single gunshot shattered the silence. He froze, trying to figure out where it came from. It might have been a hunter, but in that moment, there was no way to be certain.
I don't know if I just caught that, but I'm pretty sure I've just heard gunshots.
The fog grew thicker, cutting down visibility. Not long after, he noticed brief flashes of light in the distance. They moved between the trees, appearing and vanishing without warning.
So he didn't want me for my safety, but as you can hear, there's no wildlife in here, although there might be a white doe in here somewhere. Don't know if it were eye shine or a torch down there. Oh, I don't like this. Oh no, I'm stuck. You ship me up then, mate.
It was impossible to tell if they were simple reflections, headlamps, or something else entirely. The landowner had previously stated that hunting took place in the area. Even so, the timing and pattern of the lights felt strange. Another flash appeared, closer than the last.
Alright, let's see if we can find a path to get out of here. Mate, you're heavy, you are. She weighs more than my backpack. Really want to know what that shine was down there. Whether it's a torch. Like I say, I've heard gunshots earlier, so... Fuck. I don't want to be getting shot, do I? And I especially don't want to be running in to the landowner again, because he will not be happy that I'm back in here on the night time.
He decided not to wait. Gathering his gear, he moved quickly through the dark forest. The mist and limited sight forced him to place each step carefully. Even as he approached the tree line, the sounds continued behind him. Distant gunshots rolling through the night.
It's just not worth risking it. I had a bad feeling about tonight anyway. An old rugby injury flared up this morning as I'm about to go out on a camp. And see, I start hearing stuff, but then when I stop and I breathe like that, I can't see out. Yeah, and Fendy's back legs, but we managed to climb up.
Lady Sybil was said to have bound herself to that land forever. Maybe the lights and shots had a clear explanation, or maybe it was just the wrong place at the wrong time. If you were alone in that fog and saw those flashes getting closer, would you stay and investigate, or leave before the forest decided for you? A man and his dog were trekking through the snowy wilderness at night when darkness arrived sooner than he expected. With weak signal and few alternatives, he had no option but to locate shelter and stay there until morning.
Currently heading towards some signal towers, and I believe that there will be definitely a place where we will be able to spend the night. There is a roof, and I'm going to see what is there. Interesting. Are you scared? Huh? There's another room over there. I'm going to see if I can go in there. Looks like a door. Let's see.
Flashlight in hand, he came across a small building, a last-chance refuge. He started a fire and attempted to settle in. Snow covered everything around them, and the forest was completely still. Then he heard something.
That's how much heat trapped under this roof. It's really interesting. You can actually see here how much the snow has slided down. It's really interesting. I believe I heard somebody. Voices. Would you look at that? There's somebody over there. There's a dude over there.
Peering into the dark, it became clear that another man was walking through the woods late at night, far from anywhere. Shortly after, the footage shows both of them inside the shelter together.
This guy actually found me in this snow while hiking with his dog, and that is something. He actually saw my flashlight.
The kind of drink a man needs in this kind of weather.
Look at that. All the steam. This is actually steam that's coming from my leg.
He allowed the stranger inside, offering warmth and protection from the cold. Even so, the tension lingered. He didn't know who this man was, didn't know why he was out there, and didn't know what he intended to do. They spent the night in the same shelter and left early the next morning without trouble. But welcoming a stranger into an isolated refuge in the middle of the night is a decision that could have turned out very differently. Maybe it was simply two travelers crossing paths in harsh conditions, or maybe it was a moment that relied purely on trust. If you were alone in that shelter and someone stepped out of the darkness, would you invite them in or keep the door closed? This footage comes from the YouTube channel Work Less, Enjoy Life More, featuring Larry, who lives on the road full-time after selling his companies to pursue a simpler lifestyle. In June 2022, he is parked at a scenic location, coping with 78-degree heat inside his van after his air conditioner failed about a week earlier.
Hi guys, I'm Larry. I used to have my own businesses. I worked a lot. Felt like even on my days off, they weren't days off. I decided to sell everything. Now I work what I would consider less than part-time, and it pays my bills. Life's a lot easier, a lot less stress, a lot less anxiety, and I get to hang out and sleep in places like this that people only wait for weekends to go do on rare occasions, sometimes not at all. I consider myself very lucky to be out here in this beautiful, picturesque area. I don't know. Yeah, so grab a coffee, grab a beer, whatever you got, kick your feet up in the recliner, and hang out with me tonight while we camp. Let's enjoy life a little bit, huh? Okay.
We do this every day, and I'm still so amazed by you.
Finally cooled down to 78. I got the fans going. Unfortunately, my air conditioning went out about a week ago. Sun's going down. Probably have another hour or two before it's dark. I think I'm just gonna lay down and watch a little TV and then wait for it to cool down some. It's just hot.
He is set up in what he calls the middle of nowhere, miles from spotting another person. The location provides the kind of privacy and views that most people only experience during occasional weekend getaways.
Yeah, I'm gonna make some dinner. I know this is like the worst stuff in the world. Well, maybe not really, but I'm sure it's not 100% healthy for you, but I actually kind of like it. And it sounds pretty good, so I'm gonna make it. Oh yeah.
Spending time alone in isolated places means every noise and small movement draws your attention. The same solitude that feels calming in daylight can shift into something else entirely once night begins to settle in.
I hear somebody walking outside, and they knocked. They're walking around the camper. Okay, this chair was over here by the table last night when I went to bed, or the last time I went outside.
I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Why is there a tent, like right down the road from where I was camping? I haven't seen anybody. I haven't seen another person in miles and miles. I haven't seen anybody. And what's the deal with the truck? The guy in the truck. There was a guy sitting in a truck on the side of the road, like a dark colored Ford or something. I think it was a Ford. Like just sitting there.
Camping by yourself far from everything offers freedom, but it also means you rely only on yourself. Some places make you question whether you are truly at ease with that degree of isolation, or if being that distant from others quietly becomes a weakness. Sometimes nothing actually happens, yet the feeling lingers anyway. If you were out there alone, would you trust your instincts or convince yourself it is all in your head? Boar's Notes is a channel centered on practical outdoor living, survival knowledge, and time spent in nature. It's run by Eugene Parshin, a seasoned outdoorsman whose dedication to simple, self-reliant living shapes every video he creates. But during a winter walk uploaded on January 12, 2021, a normal nighttime outing slowly became tense and deeply unsettling. The recording began almost by chance, since Parshin hadn't originally planned to film. Even so, with temperatures already near -25 and continuing to fall, he decided to document the walk. Snow blanketed everything, and the only illumination came from a small flashlight cutting a thin path through the dark. Not far into the hike, everything shifted. A group of stray dogs suddenly emerged and rushed toward him. They were aggressive, barking and circling as if trying to surround him. Within seconds, the calm walk turned into a desperate run through deep snow as he fled into the forest.
Стоп, сейчас придушусь. Вроде ушел. Дамы и господа, стая собак напала. В лес убежал сейчас. 2 овчарки, худые. Бабай какой-то дохлый. Ну, всякие бобики, тузики. Я одну пнул. Удалось избежать укуса. Не знаю, вроде.
After gaining distance from the pack, he continued along the narrow trail, working to steady his breathing. There were no houses, no roads, only snow and trees. Farther ahead, he spotted faint footprints in the snow heading in the same direction. That made him slow down and listen carefully, and then he stopped.
Не знаю, записалось, нет. Кто-то кричал. Слышно? Женщина кричит. Я не знаю, что она тут делает в полночь. Не знаю, пойдем посмотрим.
Somewhere in the distance, a cry carried through the trees. It came again, soft and strained, difficult to understand. Each time it repeated, it seemed closer.
Вот, тихо. Ага. Короче, валить надо от греха подальше.
He moved cautiously, sweeping the forest with his flashlight. But as the temperature kept dropping and no clear route appeared, he chose to turn back. Maybe the sounds had a simple cause, or maybe they didn't. If you heard that cry in the freezing dark, would you keep walking toward it, or head back before it found you? In D Woods Outdoors is a channel centered on mountain living and solo journeys. The creator regularly rides through forests, abandoned cabins, and isolated trails on his bike. However, on January 18th, 2026, what began as a normal ride turned into an unexpectedly tense and unsettling experience. That day, he headed out alone, moving through thick trees toward a drilling rig he had noticed earlier, curious to explore the area. The route was uneven in sections, requiring careful navigation over snow, ice, and rough ground. As the sun started to dip, he paused in a small clearing, watching the warm light settle behind distant mountains. While taking an alternate trail, he spotted a black plastic sheet partly concealed beneath brush. Curious, he stopped and walked over to check it out. Underneath the covering, he discovered something entirely unexpected.
Check this out. This is brutal. Okay, so Andy and I were wheeling up here, like just on the back when we came back from one of our trips. Over there, we seen that there was a bunch of gas cans and a little scooter, like it just had drug heads written all over it. Now look at this. They have got a major trail through here, Jackal's big trail. I don't know what's up there, but all I can smell, it smells like a skunk. I just looked in this bag. It looks like guts or something. Yeah, it's a skunk. What the frick is going on here? That is weird. You see that? There's a skunk in there. So I'm gonna call Fish and Wildlife and let them know what's going on. This is dumb.
Nearby were gas cans, old bicycles, and scattered debris, suggesting the location had been used to discard unwanted items.
Look at this, frames, gas cans, boats. Holy man, they have one hell of a beaten path. They might be in there right now, actually. Boots and... Holy man, I could still smell that skunk. I don't know if this is like the bike trail or if these guys made this. Look at this. Like, how can the police not know about this? Anyway, I'm not going any farther.
The finding was alarming, and he understood the area might be dangerous, or at least unpredictable. He cautiously returned to his bike and left, feeling both relieved and unsettled. For viewers, the video served as a warning and a rare look at what can unfold during solo exploration. Maybe it was just an illegal dumping site, or maybe something more was happening there. If you uncovered something like that alone in the woods, would you investigate further or leave before the situation changed? In Search of Gold Nuggets is a channel focused on forest hikes, small trips to gold-bearing creeks, and looking for natural artifacts in remote places. But during a scouting outing uploaded on November 13, 2018, a normal day in the woods slowly shifted into something far more unusual. That morning, Semyon returned to a small creek he had explored several times before. The water was little more than a narrow stream flowing over rocks and mud. Yet he had previously found tiny flakes of gold there. He usually carried a shovel, but this time he decided to use a hand drill instead. The forest was quiet and empty, and everything felt routine as he began setting up, at least until faint shouting drifted in from somewhere in the distance.
Maybe something will come of it. Now they're yelling again, damn it. I need to wait until they come out. What are you thinking?
He paused and listened closely. The cries came again, repeated several times, sounding loud and desperate. Unsure how to respond, he left his equipment behind and moved slowly toward the sound, trying to understand what was happening.
I don't know. I think I'll go meet them now. So what are you? Oh, I think they answered. Did you hear that? I should probably go. My soul is somehow restless. By the way, there's a lair here. It looks like some criminal is hiding there. I found him last time. Screaming, like from the underworld. I think there was some other kind of screaming just now.
As he approached, the shouting abruptly stopped. He searched along the tree line for several minutes, but found no one.
Okay, I'll go closer, see if anyone needs help or something. Well, I went towards them shouting, and the shouting stopped.
When he returned to the creek, he noticed something else that seemed out of place. There was a rough stove constructed from scrap materials, stacked firewood, and a small area that appeared to have been used for sleeping. It didn't look like a typical campsite. Only the basic signs suggested someone had been quietly staying there. Nothing more.
This is some kind of cache. I'm amazed. You can find all sorts of things here, like, damn, some kind of rug, carpet. And here's this stove, made out of sheets. That is, wrapped in wire like this. Usually, in caches like these, there's some kind of canned food, something like that. Some kind of household trash. There's nothing here at all. Looks like they cut some wood with a saw, some chance. Damn, I need to watch survivalist videos. Most likely, some survivalist was here. This had to be done on purpose. I think more than one day, most likely. There's another piece of what looks like a pipe over there. So they brought iron, brought a rug like this, and then sort of covered it all up, making a home for themselves there.
Standing alone in the silent forest, the sight felt strange and misplaced. What started as a simple prospecting trip ended with lingering questions, a hidden shelter, and the uneasy reminder that even familiar woods can contain signs of people you never expect to encounter. If you heard those cries and then found that shelter, would you keep searching or leave before finding out who was really there? The video comes from Snaky Nader, a UK-based paranormal and exploration channel that mixes late-night investigations with humor and casual banter. It is January 15th, 2026, on Rombald's Moor near Dick Hudson's pub. The group begins their nighttime climb up the moor, talking about local legends connected to the area. The stories include alleged satanic rituals, animal sacrifices, sightings of large black dogs, and even a report of a man who supposedly blacked out on the moor and later found unexplained photos on his phone, believing he had been abducted. Although the mood starts off light, the setting quickly feels open and isolated. Livestock move somewhere in the darkness around them, and the steep climb adds to a growing sense of tension as they near the top.
These are like, we're literally going to the same quarry. That's, okay, look, here's more of the cults. And then this is a picture took on Cow and Calf, which is the other side. Look at these ghosts just like floating about.
While discussing tales of demon dogs and ritual activity, one member suddenly reacts, convinced he sees a large shape with glowing eyes watching from the moor. The moment is brief but unsettling, echoing long-standing reports of oversized black dogs said to roam the area.
Bro, like, I don't fake this stuff.
What?
I heard someone talking, like, there. It was like a woman.
I'm not being funny. You couldn't pay me enough to go down there on my own.
Another member hears what sounds like a woman speaking nearby, even though no one else is visible. He begins shivering and appears genuinely shaken, insisting the voice came from close behind them.
Low battery, I just changed the batteries with new batteries. The thing's just... I just changed the batteries, bro. What?
So press the on button.
I've done it, it's on...
Oh yeah, low battery.
Yeah, no, I just changed it with new... I just bought new batteries and changed it. And he's just drained the battery.
No, what? I didn't like that.
Yo, whoa!
I didn't like that.
I heard another voice.
Oh
yeah, actually, you're alright. I know you're at the back. I genuinely heard another, like, I heard like a shout.
It wasn't working, I just heard.
Wasn't working.
That's what you just said, it wasn't working.
Maybe the REM pod wasn't working.
Are you trying to communicate with us?
Just go.
Can I just say, mate, right behind us, I don't know what exactly I heard, but I just heard like something and it just freaked me out. Like, I got full-on shivers. Like, I wasn't bull.
As they leave the moor, panic erupts when they believe something is chasing them through the darkness. Shouting and confusion follow as shapes move in their direction. The threat is eventually identified as cows approaching, partially explaining earlier sounds and movement. Even so, the investigation leaves the group uneasy. With nerves strained and adrenaline still high, they abandon the moor and return toward Dick Hudson's pub, leaving viewers to decide how much can be logically explained and how much remains unresolved. Maybe the livestock and faulty equipment account for most of it, Or maybe the setting amplified something harder to name. If you were standing on that moor in the dark and heard a voice behind you, would you brush it off or start to wonder who else was really there? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.